Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of Your Guest is as Good as Mine. Here I am with my, first guest. If you've seen the title, you can probably figure out who it is. Geoff Thew, professional shitbag from the YouTube channel Mother's Basement.
Hi, hello. That's me. That's a good title for a podcast.
That
It's the
is,
first
thank
time I'm
you.
hearing it. I,
Thank
I
you.
it's a good podcast title. Um, Hi.
Hi there. Uh, there are many reasons I chose you as my first guest. One, you're probably the closest person to me that has a real big name. So I'm flattered to have you on.
Thanks for asking. I like doing podcasts. I'm happy to join you in the start of this journey. And if you guys listening don't know, which you might not, because this is this is the first of these podcasts. Trey is the fantastic moderator of my Discord server. Just an all-around great guy. He runs the uh, Mother's Basement Rumors Twitter, Geoff Thew Rumors,
Oh
as well
yes.
as a parody account of my girlfriend. He does funny shit on the internet. Um,
Yes.
uh, so yeah, I'm introducing the host of this podcast to
Oh
its
yes.
listeners.
I found that hilarious as soon as you started. Actually, it would be nice if you could introduce yourself a little bit.
Uh, well, geez, that just sounds arrogant.
Uh, okay.
I'm. Yeah, you introduce me.
I'll introduce you other than the professional shitbag Mother's Basement thing. Uh, Hi everyone, this is Geoff Thew I have with me, host of Mother's Basement on YouTube, officially the worst anime channel on the website,
According to thetop10s.com. I may have
according to,
gamed that poll a little, but whatever.
yeah, may have, I, may or may not have voted in that poll, as seeing you, shill for people to vote you as the worst.
That was a funny that was a funny day because I got a comment on one of my SAO videos. This guy's like, "I'll fucking show you. You're on my list of the top 10 worst YouTubers, and you're number 6." And
Oh
like
my
all of the
fucking god.
reasons were like he hates SAO, and I'm like, uh, I'm not one to settle for anything less than first. So you know, I went to
Yep.
the polls and I got myself to the top of that totally meaningless top 10 list. I'm
Oh man.
proud to still be at the top.
What's the next number one you're going for?
Uh, oh geez, I don't know. Sure would like to be the
Worst
num.
Rick and Morty impersonation?
I Man, that's hard because Digibro's got me beat pretty
Oh, he
definitively
does?
there.
Oh, damn, throwing some shade.
I've only got him beat in subscribers, so that's what
Okay,
not.
cue the air horn noises. I'll be sure to edit
um,
that in.
please do. But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like my Rick and Morty impersonation was like a solid 6 out of 10.
It
Um,
was very entertaining, I'll give you that.
I think the problem is that I just don't have the right vocal cords to get the actual sound of their voices down.
Oh,
But
it's the high pitch range that you gotta go for.
yeah, like my Rick was like closer, but the
Yes.
the main thing that I felt like I did well on. I mean, I'm sucking my own dick at this point, but I
Yeah.
feel like I did a good job capturing the cadence and like personality in their voices, if not necessarily the exact sound of them.
Oh,
So
yes, I have definitely seen worse. But
everybody has at every anime convention. But I mean, the
uh,
main reason I did that is just because I wanted to do something unique, and Rick and Morty seemed like just doing a regular OP analysis of Rick and Morty just seemed weird. Um,
Speaking of doing something unique, which actually it's probably not so unique. Unique. That was a terrible segue. What have you been up to?
um, Over the last month, working lots. today working lots more. Uh, the life
Working
of a
lots more.
YouTuber.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
the
what have you
life
been doing for fun?
for fun. Well, I just 100% in Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, you went for
Uh,
the bit. You went for the big moons.
yeah, all I mean, I got 999 because after I got all of the moons, I grinded for coins for like an hour. I watched a new episode of The Flash, and I just did the there's this sub level in Bowser's world
Okay,
in
that one.
Bowser's Kingdom that you can just like sort of switch your brain off and go through track over and over again and
Yeah,
get
I've
180
seen people
coins.
do that with one of the cloud levels in the Forest Kingdom really early game.
Yeah, that works too. The Bowser one's just a little bit more automatic and
Yeah,
easy to repeat.
again, it was just
Um,
early game
yeah,
coin grinding.
I don't see any point in grinding in the early game, honestly. Like as long as you're like playing missions,
Oh,
y
well, there's the coin grinding for like growing the flower in that specific level.
oh yeah, but I mean you only need like 1,500 coins to. Yeah, that was a bit of a sink, but I did that at the end of the game. I just skipped over that flower until I or yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was a pain in the ass though. Like there's so many fucking coins for that.
Did you
Um,
did you know you actually need less if you just do it slower?
really?
Yes.
Oh,
Apparently, if you just don't spam it and you do it slowly, you only spend like 400, 500 coins.
oh, well, that's not bad at all. As opposed to just like shaking and yeah, that makes sense. Um,
I found that out late.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. By the end of the game, I was pretty flush with coins because I did stuff like the the Sand Kingdom in the underground area. I did the uh jump to the roof of that. Uh, do
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Sand Kingdom. Oh,
There's
you're
this
talking about the thing where like you back jump over it, like one of the trick things.
yeah, you do like it seems unintentional, but they actually like
Yes.
left a route in
Oh,
there to get to the top of the
ev-
thing, and there's like 500 coins on top of it.
oh yeah. There's just stacks and stacks of coins, and there's like two other pillars you can jump to. I think.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff like that, and I made sure to get all of the purple coins in every region before I moved on because I wanted, a fully decked
Th-
out Odyssey.
oh, of
Um,
course.
so by the end of the game, I was like roughly 60% of the way to full completion, and I was like, I may as well. Because I still wanted to play more. I was still having fun with it. Um,
Got a little bit of chub there.
yeah,
All close to full completion.
yeah, exactly. It's a half chub, may as well get it all the way out.
Yeah, might as
Um,
well.
but yeah, it was a fun experience all the way through, and the only time that I really needed to grind for coins was for the extra stars to bring it up to 999, so that I could get the hat on top of Princess Peach's castle. By the way,
Yes.
spoilers: Last Kingdom is the Mushroom Kingdom, in case anybody didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
sorry, spoilers. I'll tag it.
yeah,
I'll tag it Mario Odyssey spoilers because I'm sure we'll be getting into a little bit of that.
I've seen lots of Mario Odyssey spoiler tags on the internet, and I like actually don't get why people care. Like,
Yeah, I know, but people do care, and I've noticed that in my own personal friend group. So I've been like, I'm actually kind of excited to have this conversation because only one of them has beat it, and he hasn't gotten to the secret ending yet either.
oh yeah, the true ending.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I cheesed that a little, because I personally, my game development philosophy is that,
Don't lock anything behind like
well,
grinding.
Well, no. Okay, so there's like three things. One, like locking stuff behind grinding is fine if it's like something totally optional, like the hat at the end of the game. It's like, yeah, okay,
Yes.
you do that, you get the skeleton costume. That's neat. Skeleton costume was a cool reward for getting all those coins, and
Oh
then
yes.
after that, it's just a neat little swag thing for the extra dedicated fans. But like my two main game design sins that I think this game commits. One, don't lock completion necessary items behind bullshit mini games. Um, and that's just specifically jump rope, because fuck jump rope.
Specifically jumper. Okay, but like we did like I saw your thing on jump rope and I got scared to do it, but I got it in like 3 tries.
You got all 103 tries?
Okay, no, I got the first one in 3 tries. The 100 I haven't attempted yet, but we got to, I think
Yeah,
what I got to, well, I've attempted it. What we got to was me and my buddy 56, I think.
yeah. 56 is what I got to after like my first 4 tries. The grind to 100 is real and it is difficult.
Oh,
Um, and also volleyball is bullshit.
yeah,
Volleyball
I
is
can
real
agree with
bullshit.
that. I can
Uh,
agree.
I mean, the thing is with volleyball, that there's a cheese trick which I absolutely used, and I have no like guilt about it, which is you switch to 2-player mode and you just use Cappy, who is faster, to just fly around and hit the ball for you, and Mario just sleeps next to
God
the thing while
damn
you do
it.
that. Yeah, it's much easier that way. Um,
God damn it.
but yeah, I also used my I don't have the Peach or Bowser amiibos, but I do have like one of the original Smash Bros. Mario amiibos.
Yeah.
So I use that to just cheese some parts of the final level, because
Didn't we?
I just the hedgehog part. Um,
Okay.
because the thing is, like, in my opinion, long stretches of gameplay with no checkpoints are fake difficulty. Like
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
it's, yeah, it's hard to do and it requires a lot of like effort, but once I can reliably complete everything up to the glider segment of that without taking a single hit. And I feel
Yes.
like at the point where the Sphinx gives you a fucking heart, there should be a checkpoint in that area. Like, it doesn't, it doesn't add anything to the challenge to have to repeat the whole first part of it over and over and over again.
But
It's
then
it's
oh,
what?
I was gonna say, but then before you get too far away, that artificial difficulty thing. There's some games that completely rely on that, though. Case in point, like Cuphead, the design revolves around the no checkpoint thing.
Well, I mean, the thing is that Cuphead is like 3-minute levels, right?
Yes,
Like
but it sometimes they're 3 minutes. Yes,
yeah. Okay, so like or it's King Dice, right?
yes,
Yeah, King Dice bullshit fight. Because it lasts for fucking ever. There
yes,
are bullshit fights in Cuphead, but Cuphead is largely designed around like quick, like don't worry about checkpoints
yeah.
fights. Like the junkyard, the scrapyard brawl with the giant robot is another one that feels kind of bullshitty, just because there's so much that you have to do to get to
Uh,
the next stage, and then it's like a different skill set. But
the bird fight got to me.
the bird fight was easy.
It wasn't for me. Like every other aerial thing, I was fine with. It was just the bird fight. Got to me because I don't know. I was streaming it, so I
mm,
also had that stream anxiety.
yeah, that makes sense.
Uh, and I beat it as soon as I stopped streaming,
Hmm.
and that kind of made me mad. But no, it really got to me. But also the bee fight.
Yeah, I mean, those ones were, well, the bee fight specifically wasn't a problem for me, because by that point I had the charge shot, and the charge shot like
Oh yeah,
actually breaks the game.
yeah, no, I
Um,
had charge shot by then too. It's just what really got to me was
the
like the
triangles.
yeah, the movement patterns of the things. I was trying to keep track of so many movement patterns. It really screwed with me. And then I
Yeah,
was
that.
like, "Hey, I'll set the game down because usually that's what I do. I'll set it
Hmm.
down, come back to it the next day and I can do it." I'm way more calm and way more like collected about focusing on that kind of thing. It did not work.
Yeah, no,
It
it's the bee fight. The bee fight was one of the easier ones for me, just because I was using the charge shot a lot, and like I had the charge shot down where I could get through the security guard in no hits easily in like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then for the B fight, it's just about knowing where to stand,
Yeah.
and hoping that you don't get a bad pattern.
Yeah.
Um,
Eventually, I figured that out.
which is like the bird fight's just a bullet hell. Like it's the most
Yes.
bullet hell
Yeah, and
fight of any of
as
them.
long as you remember to shrink, you're fine. It's just like
Oh, you don't even
there's
you.
I kept getting cucked by an egg whenever I used my
Oh,
super.
oh yeah, the egg guy is, yeah, egg mode is like the hardest part of that fight, but like the first part where you're dodging the feathers is super easy.
Yeah.
Um, and for the egg part, like and when he's on the stretcher, you really just need to use the lob shot, and
Yes.
it takes him out easy.
Yep. Take
Um,
out with a lob shot.
but yeah, that one was like one of the easiest for me. I had more trouble on like the dragon.
Did you ever do the pacifist run stuff?
No.
Okay,
And
I did
I
that.
still,
I did those on stream, and I was super happy with myself because to me that was actually easier than like the bird fight or anything because I could see it. Like I could
yeah.
see my mistakes and measure it out.
Yeah, the pacifist, I might want to try doing it. It's just like I haven't even beaten the game yet, and I probably never will.
Oh,
Honestly, it's just like I don't. There's some fights that I just don't find fun and don't want to bother
it's that you
grinding
don't want to
out.
sink the time in to
Yeah,
because you don't want to sink the time in for something you're not having fun doing.
yeah. Like
Uh,
I
I,
I I enjoy the game for the most part. I've beaten enough of it to confidently say I'm okay at Cuphead.
yeah,
Um, I'm never gonna 100% it, and like I don't know. I really like the graphical style of it, and I think it's really impressive on that level. Um, and it's a satisfying game to play for sure. Like I had fun beating the bosses that I beat. I just like got to a point where I felt I'm done with this. I've sort of seen all mechanically that this game has to offer.
yeah,
And everything else is just going to be harder variations on what I've already done, if that makes sense.
that does.
Um,
Uh,
eh,
oh no, continue.
yeah, like I don't finish games all that often. So it's really rare for me to get 100% completion on something, and Mario Odyssey really just I didn't want to stop playing until I had seen everything, and I still kind of want to go back to it. And I felt the same way about Breath of the Wild. So Nintendo is doing something right when it comes to collectibles, and just making it fun to find them.
Well,
Uh,
making it instead of just laying around or whatever, like you're searching for them, and when you search for them, not only do you get the satisfaction of I got this, but like for the most part, you're seeing something new. You're seeing
yeah,
something unique with each one,
you're seeing like cool level geometry or a neat twist on the mechanics. Like
or somewhere to go.
the worst part of Breath of the Wild are like the 15 or so combat dungeons that you have to do because they're the same fucking thing over and over again. But
And centered around combat, which is definitely not the game's strong suit.
I mean, I love the combat in Breath of the Wild. Fighting those things in particular, the Guardians, is boring because
Yeah.
they just have like super locked patterns. But like Lionel, like fighting your first, second, third Lionel, after a while, you get the patterns of even the Lionels. But like fighting Lionels is a ton of fun. Managing huge groups of Moblins and Bokoblins is a ton of fun. I would say it's a better Far Cry game than Far Cry, uh, because it's just mechanically consistent. It's really fun to play around with different items and stuff. Um, but yeah, the real draw of Zelda was definitely the exploration and the like over every hill, like literally every hill. There's something at least neat, and sometimes it's like something truly fantastical. Like my jaw dropped and my breath was literally taken away the first time that I saw like a dragon just flying over the back ridge of Mount Doom, and I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah, I gotta
Um,
go there.
yeah,
It's like the moments in Shadow of the Colossus.
Well, I mean, I'd heard about like I had heard about dragons in the game. I had purposefully not looked up anything about Breath of the Wild before I started playing it. Same goes
Yes.
for Mario, actually. I saw the basics of the trailer. I was like, okay, I want to play this, so I'm not going to look up anything about it so it can all feel fresh to me. And Breath of the Wild was like it was like playing every other Zelda for the first time again, but better, if that makes sense. It like there it felt like a true and proper update to what Zelda 1 brought to the table without throwing out the good stuff that Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past did, but while Wind Waker, because it's got Wind Waker's combat system sort
Yeah.
of, but
Yeah.
it
I didn't
absolutely
play Wind Waker, but I've seen people play it, and I can see what you're saying.
yeah. But it like absolutely throws out the super scripted gameplay and other stuff that kind of makes games like Skyward Sword and uh, other Zelda games pretty tedious. I mean, I love Zelda. Zelda is one of my favorite franchises, and I love all of the games in the series except Skyward Sword. And I mean, I really like what they tried to do with Zelda 2. They just didn't do it well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
um,
Okay. So I. This being said, the only Zelda games I have played are I played like half of Zelda One. I
mm,
played Ocarina of Time, Minish Cap, and I'm currently in the middle of Link
Breath of the
Between
Wild.
Worlds.
Oh, so
No,
you have
okay. I've quote unquote have played Breath of the Wild. I have had hands on it for an hour.
yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that kind of explains. Yeah, the combat in it is a lot deeper than it seems to be, but like the thing is that it's a mechanically driven game for the first time. I mean, Minish Cap is arguably also mechanically driven more than it is scripted, but
Oh yeah,
for the first time since Ocarina of Time, not counting Link Between Worlds, which is like my other
Link to the
favorite,
Past again,
but better because
but
it's like
better. It's
totally
it's really
sequence
good.
breakable. Um, yeah, like that and Majora's Mask, which turned the scripting into a mechanic in itself, were cool because like they give you a possibility space to explore. But Breath of the Wild is literally just like, here's all of these different things that Link can do, and we're not artificially limiting any of your options at all. And instead of just like artificially gating off parts of the world so that you have to come back over and over again, they just make a world that you want to explore inside and out and go back to different places because you've like figured something new out about it, and it feels like The Witness. I don't know if you played The Witness.
I did not play The Witness, but I know what you're saying because again, I've watched many people play The Witness,
Yeah.
like streaming,
I mean, there's
and
like
that was just fun to figure out myself while watching them play.
yeah, the puzzles are a ton of fun in that game. And like I mean, there's non superficial similarities, like how both the main stories of both games are about turning on four lasers that then point at a big central. Well, I mean, there's more lasers in The Witness,
Yeah,
but
there's
but
way more.
but like the world of Breath of the Wild feels like the world of The Witness blown up like 100 times
and
with combat instead of the puzzles.
and they
Um,
accidentally are very similar.
yeah, I mean they've both been in development for like half a decade, so
Yeah,
it's not like I'm accusing Nintendo of ripping off Jonathan Blow.
yeah,
Um, I, I, it's just sort of a new style of sandbox where everything is designed and curated so that it's a good experience, but you have to discover that experience yourself instead of, well, hey there, partner. Welcome to Ubisoft Tower Simulator 3.0. Let's climb this first tower, and here's 50 million fucking dots on your map to go get.
no. This time you got to put the dots there yourself.
Yeah, you actually, but just the act of like looking through a spyglass and like saying, "Oh, that looks interesting," and targeting it, and
Yes.
having to walk to a place because instead of fast travel, because you can only really fast travel to the towers, and then you have to go out from them to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, like the fast travels are a convenience without actively taking away from what's supposed to make the traversal of the world fun. Like the ta- the tower is literally a part of. Sorry, I keep bumping my microphone. The tower is like literally a part of the traversal system because you get to the top and then you use your glider, which is so satisfying to do. It just feels right, like a Nintendo game feels right. Um, and just you start at point A, you figure out what point B is, and then along the way, like your controller starts vibrating, so you go over and you're like, oh shit, there's another shrine over there. Or you're like, oh, that looks like maybe there's a Korok there. And because there's like almost 900 Korok seeds in the whole game, literally every time you think that, you're right. And that's so cool, you know? Like in
Yeah.
like there's little mini puzzles built into every aspect of the world to encourage you to actually look around instead of staring at your fucking mini map, which is what almost all other sandbox games do. Like GTA 5, I feel, does a good enough job of making the world around you feel alive that you're not compelled to
To
just
just look at the map and figure out where you're going, as opposed to like,
Watch
Skyrim
Dogs,
or some.
Assassins. I mean, Scott.
Skyrim's okay. Okay, there were different ways to play Skyrim. The first time I played it, it was looking at the minimap.
And hopping over mountains, just like mashing you to get over a
Yes,
mountain, which
instead
is
of walking around, which you can't. Which both playstyles are viable.
walking
I
around
feel like
more
I feel
fun.
like yeah, but I feel like a lot of people who the first time they play that had never touched an Elder Scrolls game before probably mainlined it and just jumped to the fucking little
Yeah,
icons on your minimap. Like that's just kind of how I did it, and then I figured out, hey, that's not where the content is. That's not where
the fun of the
the
game is.
enjoyment is.
I mean, I'm gonna make a controversial statement. I think that Bethesda is bad at designing and writing and doing
Hey,
most
just give it
things
to
in video
Obsidian for the
games.
rest of your like.
Please, actually do. That's also how
Just
I
give
feel
it to
about.
Obsidian.
That's how I feel about the new South Park too. It's like the new South Park game is still good, but it feels in every way, at least writing wise, and I'm not finished it yet, but at this point in it, it's noticeably Ubisoft writing, like
Yeah,
characters saying shit like all your base are belong to us. That's fucking
you're like,
great.
wow, hey, they're like memes.
And like one of the first lines of dialogue that you can hear from an NPC is, "I'm gonna go home and play Star Trek Bridge Simulator," which is
Oh,
like way to advertise your own fucking game. Um,
yup.
and there's like Trey Parker and Matt Stone writing in there, you
Oh
know
yeah, there is,
that,
and that stuff's like the good stuff. It's
but
things
it's
where like the things they showed off in the trailers that they like reworked over and over to change it a little bit when it came out into the game. Like that's the good writing, the things we wanted.
but it's
But
it's it's spread out between like kind of meh NPC dialogue. Whereas at Obsidian, the writers that they had on staff were good enough to bring the stuff that Matt and Trey weren't directly touching up to almost the same quality, sometimes exceeding it, as the other stuff in the game. Like,
yes,
you know, it's they both have the same great head writer, but it's a difference of like um a shitty writer's room for a season versus a good writer's room for a season. It's a difference between like early season Family Guy and current season Family Guy, where sometimes Seth MacFarlane personally does an episode and it's like, wow, it's actually funny. And you get jokes like my favorite joke in the whole series, which is Peter coming home and collapsing drunk like, we say we didn't take anything from The Simpsons, but we took a lot from The
yeah,
Simpsons.
yeah.
Which
That's a pretty good one. I've seen that around recently. I haven't watched Family Guy in
and you
many
shouldn't.
years.
You shouldn't. It's dog shit. But
But I still enjoy The Simpsons from time to time.
because sometimes like Al Jean or one of the good writers on The Simpsons will write an episode, but for the most part, it's this young writers room that doesn't know shit and doesn't care about canon, and yeah,
I
the South Park just feels like
Yeah,
that
I'm not sure how
sometimes.
they do it with Family Guy, but I have a feeling because this what it feels like to me is they have a room of people who are like, okay, so last night what did you write for jokes? And they all pull out like a folder of sticky notes and stuff, hand them in, and they just start sticking them on a board, and they're like, all right, we got to put these together. How do we put them together? And it's like a
I
group of 10 people doing that.
I mean, it's like just a pit full of dolphins, right?
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
It's South Park. We're going back to South Park. It's full circle.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I probably don't get your reference.
oh, you haven't seen that episode? Okay.
No, no. Okay, there's so much South Park that I watch it by jumping around. I don't watch it by season.
Oh man,
I
it's
only watched it by season. Like 3 years ago or so. I watched like 2 or 3 seasons in a row.
yeah,
Uh,
because it's got a canon to it now.
yeah.
Um,
When as soon as the canon, it was like it was the year Stick of Truth was coming out.
mhm.
I watched 2 seasons before that, and then I watched the season after Stick of Truth, and I was like, you're right. There's a canon there, and it's crazy how much that does to that show.
It's made it like an exponentially better show. Some people argue it's worse because it's getting away from like topical discussions a little
But
bit,
that's
and
good. That makes it last
yeah,
longer.
yeah. And I like when they hit on pop culture parody, like the latest episode that like directly compares Donald Trump followers to people in abusive relationships.
Yeah.
Um, they, I mean, I just described it. You can tell exactly how
Ex-
hard and how brutal they hit with that.
and but you can also tell how 7, 8 years from now, it's still gonna be a joke and people are gonna laugh, but it's like not gonna hit as hard. It feels like.
Yeah, like the turd sandwich debate thing. Like, I
Oh
mean, that's kind of timeless, but at the same time,
yeah.
a lot of the jokes in there are like specifically about
Th-
George Bush and
then there's like the original like Coon and Friends thing where, or not original, but when they did Coon and Friends and they brought Cthulhu into the mix.
mhm.
And that's I feel like that right there is going to be a timeless season for me because there's jokes like Captain Hindsight and
Oh yeah.
everything, which I love because he made an appearance one time at the beginning of the season and never showed up ever again. And they said they had planned on bringing him back, but they forgot about him. In hindsight, it would have been funnier to bring him back. They said
That is funny. I hope they bring him back for. He's probably somewhere in
just
Fractured But Whole,
uh
but
probably somewhere. I've not. I was gonna say I've not finished it, but actually, the day that game came out, I got the world record speed run for it.
how
1 minute 43 seconds.
how'd you do that?
As soon as the first cutscene starts, if you just hit skip cutscene like 15 times, it boots you to the credits.
Really? That's
Yes,
interesting. So, did you record that?
yes, it's on YouTube. I put it up the day it came out, and
Oh,
it's got a few dislikes. It's got more dislikes than likes.
oh,
It's
that's
g- yeah.
that's fine. I mean, you're
No, but I
technically
like
not
it. It was
wrong.
funny to me. Well, yeah, because like speedrun rules is if you see the credits in the game, as opposed to like hitting a menu button for the credits, like if you start the game and you get to credits, into the game.
Well, I mean, the thing is that when you get a game over in that, it rolls the credits of the. So I don't know if they necessarily count, but I mean,
Yeah, it was a
yeah,
funny joke though. It was a good
yeah,
joke.
it's a
I
good
posted
gag.
that.
But yeah, so I I hope Captain Hindsight's in it. But yeah, South Park definitely evolved when they changed formats to having more story-driven content. And like the lead in to Stick of Truth was, I think, the start of that. I think it was probably difficult for them to do a totally like canonically consistent story-driven season while they were working on Stick of Truth
Well,
because all their best ideas went into that game. Um, and after that they launched changes like the first episode of the season after that is when they start having like uh, a true canonical continuation from episode to episode.
was that okay? Oh, I'm mixing up seasons here. Was the season after the
It
what
was the
season
one.
was the turd? What season was the turd sandwich? The everything tastes like shit thing.
I forget that one.
Was that
Um,
because that was the season where like Stan's like where damn it, Stan's family is like they're going through a divorce and then they don't, and then they get back together at the end of the season,
mm.
and they're all like, hey, nothing actually changed, basically, but it super did. I don't know.
No,
That
the
one's if
first
that
the first season with continuity started with Washington Redskins.
did it.
Yeah, and I remember because they did Washington Redskins, and then the next episode they go back to school, and I remember having my mind blown because Butters had been grounded for saying "fuck you guys, I'm getting rich" and like burning down the gymnasium.
Yeah,
And there was like a whole bunch of fallout from the Washington Redskins episode, and at that point it was like, oh shit, South Park is canonical now. Um,
yeah.
and that was like a real shift, and that came right after the end of Stick of Truth, because I remember the season before that they did the big three-part Lord of the Rings parody where they were
Di-
all
didn't they
fighting
have?
over the.
I was gonna say before that though, didn't they have the whole thing where like Kenny died and he actually stayed dead?
No, that was like many seasons ago. Kenny was like dead for a solid
That's what I'm
season, and
saying.
then
Like
yeah.
that's technically continuity.
Technically, technically, but it's not the same way. You know,
Okay.
like Kenny being dead and then coming back. That was literally. I'm pretty sure that was just them making fun of The Simpsons for killing off Maud Flanders and
Yeah.
making such a big deal out of it. I would have to actually look back at the timeline for
You.
that, but
Yeah.
they are known to be petty, like when they didn't win the Oscar, and then they like when they lost the music Oscar to Phil Collins, and then they immediately made an episode showing Phil Collins repeatedly shoving his Oscar statuette up his ass, uh, and just being a general asshole. Or when Isaac Hayes quit the show, so they made his character a like monstrous pedophile
Yeah.
and killed him off in the most like unceremonious and insulting way possible. And then they brought him back as a pedophile Nazi zombie just to really.
So it's just joke continuity as opposed to story continuity.
Yeah, exactly. It was like at that point I think they might have actually just been making fun of continuity in shows like theirs in general, which is ironic because they've really come around on it.
Because like Chim Pokemon's a joke continuity.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the actual introduction of continuity really did change South Park for the better. Um, I man, I love the lead in to Stick of Truth
Oh,
when.
it was so good because like it's also super like dissatisfying like halfway through the episode. Like the last episode of the season, and then the end of it's just like, all right, I guess we're just gonna go play this game then.
Yeah, we'll just play outside.
Yeah, we'll just play
Fuck video
outside.
games.
But yeah, fuck video games. Please buy our video game, please.
Like that's the best ad ever though. Like fuck video games. Yeah, fuck video games. South Park, Stick of Truth, coming.
Yeah.
Like, which is also how they advertise Book of Mormon, right? Like they
Yes.
shat all
It was
over
that whole
Broadway.
episode.
It's like, man, Broadway sucks. Yeah, I'm never seeing a Broadway musical again. Book of Mormon coming to Broadway stage. Like
That was Randy Marsh doing his Broadway play, right? That was that episode. He was trying to go get a Tony.
yeah, he was trying to get a Tony with subtext,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he ended up dressing up as Spider-Man
Yeah,
and
trying to get
ruining
the sub,
Broadway
trying to
forever.
go with the subtext of getting your wife to blow you.
Yeah. Um, because he like didn't get
Yeah,
it, but he got it. That
yeah,
was that was a good episode. That was a really strong episode. And then like the B plot intersecting with the A plot when Shelley's boyfriend takes her to a fucking musical and he like tries to stop it and then he ends up killing her boyfriend.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh
that
man.
there's a lot of like fuck. South Park's such a good show.
There was
I'm
a whole
not.
that season that was about Butters was one of my favorite seasons though.
Yeah, I mean Butters is that's another kind of reason that I feel a little bit disappointed with Fractured Butthole so far. Um, is just that Butters isn't in it as much.
Yeah,
Um,
but you wish.
yeah, I mean he's Butters is the best. He's one of the best parts of South Park, and he doesn't get enough screen time a lot of the time.
Well, he's
Um,
like one of the real characters. Like he's probably, if I can say that, like the most relatable and real.
he's the most developed character, like by
I I,
far.
I just mean in
Um,
terms of like he doesn't feel like, of course he's written, but he doesn't just have perfect dialogue and everything happens just the way he wants for the for like most of the time. Anytime they have like a Coon and Friends thing, it changes a little bit, but like Butters himself,
mhm.
I don't know, it's just got this awkward quality to the writing that just makes it so real.
He's like a real kid, just
Yeah.
like he and Randy are the best characters in the show, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Um,
Yep. I can agree with you, and I think Trey Parker and Matt Stone can also agree because they get a lot of screen time in recent seasons.
yeah, that's just like the main thing, right? Like in Fractured But Whole, Randy is literally just like a boss in the first level, and it's like okay, I want to interact with you more. I I I hopefully there is a level like the spaceship level from Stick of Truth
Oh
where
man.
you're just like getting Randy repeatedly anal probed in order to get out of the which was like that was like on point South Park
Censored in
humor.
Australia.
Of course. Or and hopefully there's more Professor Chaos later on because like the fact that Professor Chaos is the enemy inherently means that he isn't part of the group
Yeah, you
and
can't get as much story with him as opposed to him like having his own like cutscenes away from the actual action and stuff.
like you've also got Stan and Token with the Justice Friends or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, uh, there's some like you get good interactions with like their families, like like you do get to do some stuff with Randy. You get to buy a condom for Stan's grandpa, even though
Yeah.
he's supposed to be in the retirement home at that point in the story. So I don't know if they took him back out of the
They
retirement
probably
home
they
or
he's probably just, don't worry about the continuity. He's just
don't,
there.
yeah, it's you're gonna get errors.
They didn't want to make a retirement home level where you're beating up old people.
I mean, no, old people are one of the enemies you can select as your kryptonite.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you can.
you're definitely going to end up fighting old people at some point. And I would bet that the opioids episode that they did this season is probably a setup for that. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just there's a lot of parts of it that just feel underwhelming and I want more Butters early on, like I don't mind Kyle and Kyle too.
Kyle and
And
Kyle too. Yep.
like Craig and Tweak, their whole thing is fun. They've given like all of the different characters things to do that are
Everyone
interesting. But
everyone
so
has
far
gotten something except for like you're saying, Butters and Stan could easily use some more, but like Butters is very understandably he doesn't have stuff yet.
yeah, and Stan's like he's part of the Justice Friends too. Yeah,
He,
because
he's
no, he's not part of Coon and Friends.
no.
He broke from them with the rest of them. Uh,
Sorry,
and
I said
like
Stan, I meant Randy.
yeah, yeah.
I meant Randy. I said Stan, sorry. The marshes are mixed in my head.
hmm Like there's good stuff. Like Tweak and Craig's relationship is interesting. There's the combat system of pointing out microaggressions and getting a free hit because of them. Uh, Mr. Mackey's whole like very very in-depth conversation about your gender. Um, it's all like very on point social satire. Uh, in non-subtle ways, and then there's the super non-subtle thing of the police force sending you to take down drug dealers, which are literally just the two black families in South Park. um so there's like good South Park humor in there, but it it's a lot of like fart, like two of the main mechanics are fart jokes that they're funny, but
They're,
are they
yeah,
consistently funny enough to keep being funny every time I have to do fartcore to find like a hidden item, or use diabetic rage to knock over a green block? It just feels drawn out. It feels like Ubisoft designed it.
yeah, as
Um,
opposed to like Ubisoft published it.
Yeah, which I guess brings us back to the whole Bethesda should stop making video games and just publish other people's video games thing.
Uh, yeah, it should. They should.
I
Uh,
Yeah,
but we really got far away from Mario.
we did. I mean, that's what
South
happens
Park is
when.
probably the furthest you can get from Mario.
Oh, that's not strictly true.
No, it's
Um,
not, but it's pretty close.
yeah, wasn't Mario in South Park at one point as like a
Uh,
reference?
not it. It wasn't official.
Yeah, I mean, it's never official in South Park.
Yeah.
All so
There is official like PewDiePie and Minecraft. They were in
yeah,
there.
yeah, that's true. Um,
Um,
the PewDiePie one was interesting.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think World
the
of Warcraft might have been official
that
because
was
of
definitely official. They
yeah.
worked with them, but like you're not going to get Mario for something like that. Um,
Oh no.
but
Oh no, I could just imagine the Nintendo executives right now.
but yeah, we kind of like we went from sandbox games to talking shit about Bethesda because like, again, I don't think their games are enjoyable for sure, but they're like very much the exact same kind of exploitable low effort grind as an Ubisoft game, just with a different skin on it,
Yeah,
and
with a
without
different
the
skin on
powers.
it and a different kind of like it's a bit different jank.
And
The jank is a good bit different because like people don't really forgive Ubisoft jank. They really attack it a lot from what I've seen,
yeah,
but everyone just forgives Bethesda jank.
I see what I hate is I hate feeling like I have a checklist to complete before I even know what an area feels like.
Mhm.
I I Assassin's Creed 2 is another game that I poured a lot of time into, and I think that that game's really well paced. And the whole reason that I think that is arguably just that they don't show you a lot of the icons on the map until you've completed a few missions,
Yeah.
instead of like, okay, well, I mean, you could do the story, or you could run off and do like 50 fucking the same mail bag runs over and
Yeah.
over again, or you can go to this spot and this spot and this spot and find a guy and then save him from the guards, and then he becomes an assassin. Woo!
Oh,
I
I started with Brotherhood, and that's still to me to this day the best one that I played. Like I went back
I
and played the other ones, and just Brotherhood stuck with me because, like you said, paced well, and it does. It's Assassin's Creed 2 too.
Well, I mean, Brotherhood definitely does it better than 3 and Revelations, but like
Ugh.
I played it back to back with 2, and it was just, I don't know. I really like the multiplayer in Brotherhood enough to keep playing it, but I don't know. I guess I was Ubisoft sandboxed out at that point. And that's the thing, right? Like I feel like you can do one Ubisoft sandbox game every like 5 years
And
and
maybe two.
properly enjoy it.
If you play, if you played, say Assassin's Creed 2, and then you played Far Cry 3 in the like in a year apart or so, you should be fine. They're
Yeah.
such different games, even though they're Ubisoft sandboxes.
I mean, I can enjoy Far Cry. I've never finished a Far Cry game, and I never
Oh,
will.
neither have I.
But that's the thing, right? Like you stop playing Ubisoft sandbox games after you've completed one of them, is how I feel like it is. Like it took me a few years, and Watch Dogs just happened to be the game I was playing at the time when I had my like Ubisoft sandbox stamina up enough to finish it.
Yeah.
Plus, I was working for a game site at the time, and it was beneficial to write about Watch Dogs because it was such a disaster. And
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
a lot of people got into that news.
and yeah, just from there, it ended up being I don't know. It was just I could finish it.
Fatigue.
Yeah, it's just the same fucking gameplay loop over and over again, you know?
Yeah, man.
And you get tired of it. You can't help getting tired of playing Ubisoft sandboxes again. You can't help getting tired of Bethesda RPGs
It's
by
like
the
you
same
can't
token.
help getting tired of Telltale games.
Yeah. Like here's like if you play Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 and Skyrim back
New
to back,
Vegas, though.
no, if you play those two back to back, you're gonna feel like you're not going to enjoy one as much as the other because
No.
like they're so similar. The Radiant quest system is just dog shit. Um and yeah, the whole gameplay loop of those games is just very samey, but you can play Fallout 3 and then play Fallout New Vegas and keep playing Fallout New Vegas because Fallout New Vegas is a good video game.
Oh yeah.
Um, as opposed to like a formula that works for making an okay video game. Which is I feel like what Ubisoft are like what Ubisoft sandboxes are, what Bethesda RPGs are. They're just like a bunch of boxes that developers need to tick and like a big world that needs to be filled in with art assets and theming. And it at the point that you make that, it doesn't really matter how well written a game is, which, I mean, if you've played Fallout 4 or you've played Skyrim, you know that the writing in those can be absolute dog shit. It doesn't matter how well designed any given encounter is, because there's just so much stuff to do. And it like plays into that Skinner box mentality
It's
that
just like filling space almost.
yeah, that you can just play it and not think about it and go on with your day. Far Cry requires that you think about things only when you like get to a stronghold and have to take it. And even then it's like once you've got the pattern down, it's like okay, well, find guard patrols, take out animals, etc., etc. Um Far Cry 4 has a bunch of tedious bullshit where you also have to run back and defend your bases, which I hated. But like, yeah, it's just going over these same design principles over and over again because they work well enough. Whereas you look at like Mario Odyssey and it like tosses out a lot of the rules for collectathon platformers that Nintendo had themselves established with Mario Sunshine and Mario 64, and with Banjo Kazooie and all of that, and it goes for a different approach where there's lots of collectibles. They're easy to get. You don't get booted out of the level. But like there's like a range of collectibles all the way up to some of the hardest challenges in all of video games. You've gotten the true ending, right?
No, I personally have not gotten it, but I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the true ending is a bullshit challenge, like I was saying before, because no checkpoints is fake difficulty. Um,
Yes.
it's like at the point where you give me back my health, just put a fucking checkpoint there because it's the same difference, except you're making me do stuff I've already proven that I can do again. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, at the I cheesed the last half of it with invincibility solely because I didn't want to have to fucking restart and do this thing that I had down over and over again. But Mario's also got some legitimate like real challenges especially on the dark side of the moon, where there's like a few remix levels where you have to do levels that were already hard from the main game, but without Cappy. Um, and like there's this one that's it's this disappearing road that you're supposed to ride a scooter down, um, and it's kind of challenging, right? Like you step on a button, the road appears, and then you've got like 10 seconds to get to
Yeah.
the other side of it.
Yeah.
And then in the challenge level, you have to do that without the scooter and without Cappy, which means that you have to like perfectly time out long jumps and rolls and other things for like 30 plus seconds, and it feels like you're doing a speed run.
Yeah,
Um,
I was about to say that sounds like speedrun strats, and they're just trying to test you because they've seen what people have done in like Mario 64 and everything.
yeah, and it's like legitimately, it's cool because Mario Odyssey is the first time that I think Nintendo has like properly acknowledged the speedrunning side of their community
Oh yeah.
to that level and just designed
Well,
a game to allow you to run through it like if you know how to do the or the Cappy Hat dive, you can skip over entire sections of levels.
yeah, as
Um,
opposed to like Mario, one could say Mario Maker, but they only like put tools in there for people to use to make speedrunning stuff. They
yeah.
didn't really design the game around it. They just sort of like were like, here, you can put timers and have fastest times and everything, and that's all it really was.
You can have leaderboards and stuff, yeah, but
Yeah.
like Mario has just this full and really complex movement set, that allows him to do lots of things that you wouldn't need you wouldn't think you need to do, and the level design is designed to accommodate that, but also accommodate playing through with just the regular jump and cap throws. Um, and like maybe sometimes you have to triple jump or do a long jump or something like that towards the end of the game, but it's like super super restricted. But then if you go off the beaten path and you see like a moon, there's always a way to get that moon, um, by just doing a few crazy jumps and figuring out the pathing yourself.
Yeah.
um, and it's really satisfying, but it also feels like a tutorial for speedrunning the game if somebody wants to get into that. I think that Mario Odyssey is going to have one of the most like competitive and vibrant speedrunning communities of any game of the last decade. Um,
So, with all that being said, and I mean, I
we've
think
hit
most
the
people
hour
can
mark, yeah.
yeah, I think most people have basically figured out your opinion on that. But if you wanted to like close it off with one like fine thesis about Mario Odyssey, what would you say?
Man, this podcast wasn't about Mario Odyssey at all. Um, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna conclude with like a basic thesis that it is better to design as much great content as you can than to fill a game with a bunch of okay content as fast as humanly possible. Uh, and just that like a game like Mario Odyssey or Hat in Time, or Breath of the Wild, uh, or Grand Theft Auto 5, even though that's a huge game, it's done well. Those are always going to be more worthwhile than a Skyrim or a Fallout 4 or a Assassin's Creed that might be bigger but is just there's less to discover, you
Just
know?
too sparse.
Yeah. And also, it's really important to think about how your game is designed and everything that the players can do, from like the low skill ceiling of can they figure out how to move around in 3D and jump, to the super high skill ceiling of can they figure out how to do a long jump or absolutely maximize the distance that the glider character can glide,
But
or
don't lock important stuff behind that though.
oh,
Like
well, yeah, I mean, 100% completion,
is
it's okay.
not yeah 100% completion is one thing, but like story.
Yeah, and I will say that even if you do lock completion behind like hard challenges like that, don't lock a fucking completion goal around a mini game that has nothing to do with how your the rest of your game plays. Like examples of that cardinal sin, jump rope. Um, the arguably the
Near the
RC car.
fishing.
Yeah, near or the fishing and almost fucking anything. If fishing is tied to like actual end game progression and 100% completion, like fuck off, man. That I was playing Jack and Daxter and like there's
Oh
a
my god, the fishing minigame in the first one.
so fucking bad. I was playing it on Vita too, which means that it's basically literally unplayable. I still beat it
Oh.
because I was like I'm gonna do this just to prove I can. But like the frame rate on PS Vita is like 12 frames per second, and the
Ugh.
response lag is about a full half second of response lag. Um,
On
so
a
it's
platformer that's already got kind of loose platforming.
yeah, and on because also gonna put out another controversial statement before we go. Naughty Dog is also not great at making video games. Whoa! I mean, Crash Bandicoot was okay. Spyro was better. Um, Jack and Daxter was okay.
Jack 3, I love though to death.
Jack Jack 3 is good when they like have enough time to like develop a figure out what makes their games good. They gradually make them better. Like Uncharted 3 is a better video game
Uncharted
than
4 is a movie.
Uncharted 4 is a very bad movie. Um, Uncharted 3, I think is a much better game than 4, just gameplay wise.
Oh
But
yes.
that's like I know I made a video about this.
Oh yes,
Um,
go ahead and watch Jeff's video on that, and while you're at it, watch every other video that Jeff has made
I'd appreciate it. Um,
on
that
www.youtube.com/mothersbasement.
I just appreciate the plug. Um, and if you feel like watching some anime to understand half of the things I'm talking about, go to crunchyroll.com/basement for a 14-day free trial of the world's premier anime streaming service. They also got Pros ED. He's doing a live action TV show on there. It's
Oh
good
yeah,
times.
it's good
Um,
times. I saw that thing.
yeah, it's pretty good. He worked with Freddie Wong on it.
Yeah, Freddie Wong was like, "Hey, yo, you're cool. Let's make a show."
Yeah, yeah, that's what happened.
That's how
Um,
it happened. That's canonical. It's going to be in the history books.
Yeah. But yeah, man, this was a very rambly podcast, but I hope people enjoyed listening to it.
Oh man,
Um,
that's the point of it. I figured it would be nice for you to get away from just talking about anime because it's real interesting to hear you talk about other things like video games.
yeah, I do want to find like an outlet for talking about games more. Um, it's
Yeah,
just
and I figured like, hey, why not invite you on here so you can get your mind off other things and just
eh,
ramble about
Mario Odyssey for a while. It
Mario
was fun.
Odyssey and South Park.
It was fun. You have heard 1 hour of the inside thoughts of Geoff Thew. Um, I hope you're not too scared off by it. And don't forget to check out other episodes of Your Guest is as Good as Mine as soon as they exist.
As soon as they exist and I upload those, and as soon as I stop like creaming myself over that name because I'm so happy with it.
It should be, man. That's a good name. It's a good
All
ass
right.
fucking
Until
podcast name.
then, I'm Trey.
I'm Geoff Thew, professional shitbag.
Thanks for listening.